Welcome to this video of the Consulting Business Masterclass. My name is Leon Chaudhry, and in this video I would like to discuss with you the Consulting Fact Sheet. Now, the Consulting Fact Sheet is basically a combination of a documentation, an analysis, and an interpretation/solution. So basically, a Consulting Fact Sheet is a fact sheet that you give to your client as soon as you're done with your research. So what exactly do you need to do in order to create such a consulting fact sheet? Well, first of all, one point that I want to focus with you on, and you can see it here on the left at the speech bubble, is that the information included in the fact sheet should lead to a clear plan or should have a clear message to the client. Now, often you as a consultant, you don't necessarily have to give a solution. Sometimes it is rather that you help people to understand something. So the message that you give to other people, the message that you want to convey, should be as understandable as possible. Then the next one is you want to be as factual as possible and include all relevant statistical data. Now, I put statistical in parentheses because not always you have to generate statistical data. Sometimes it's some kind of market research data. Sometimes it's perhaps something else. So you want to make sure that you are as factual as possible. And then, of course, the last one is the tone, the language. The language itself must be understandable as well. The content itself should be not unreadable for the unexperienced eye. So if you give this report to someone, he or she needs to understand what is written in there and should not need any kind of instructions in order to understand what is written there. So you want to make sure that the report itself is as understandable as possible. So here are a couple of things you need to know. First of all, fact sheets are written reports that contain, again, a documentation, an analysis, and interpretation/solution. Now, I say in most cases, because not always you have to give a solution. Sometimes it's just that you're helping people to understand a certain thing. Often consultants are just asked to answer a question or to solve a problem. For instance, this could be the question, should this banana plantation be closed due to decreasing demand? Now, that is a very simple question when you just look at it, but of course it has many layers. The solution to it is very complicated because what you need to do is you first of all need to document, all right, what is happening right there. How big is the plantation? How many plants on this plantation? What is the overall, let's say, output of the plantation? How much money do they spend on which kind of things? Do they spend any money, on perhaps even marketing their bananas? Is there any way, you could save money in this space? Then afterwards, what you want to do is you want to do an analysis. So what exactly is the problem? You want to figure out the problem, want to see, all right, oh, here's where they did a mistake. Oh, here's where they perhaps could improve. And then you want to give an interpretation/a solution. So you want to say, all right, here's where you're wasting money. If you don't waste money here anymore, you could keep this banana plantation open and it would actually generate you some good figures. Now, the important part here always is that the interpretation/solution is, of course, based on the results that you got in your analysis. You cannot just say, oh, I think this method could work. Oh, I think this might be working. So you want to make sure that you also do some kind of competitive analysis, that you analyze what are other people doing, that you look at, for instance, the results that other companies have gotten in the same region or in the same kind of business, and you want to basically transfer these thoughts to the client that you have right now. You want to say, all right, this is what they did. We could do the same thing. We believe, or I believe, based on what I did in my analysis and in my documentation, that we could pull off the same results as this company did. So you have to be extremely analytical in your approach, and don't forget, there often is no yes or no answer. So for instance, the question, should this banana plantation be closed due to decreasing demand, actually has a yes or no answer because, the question is asked like that. But believe me, often there is no yes or no answer. There's only a recommendation. So basically what you're doing is you're recommending, all right, this plantation should be kept open because of this, and this reason, or it should not be kept open because of this reason. So every fact sheet should be task-oriented. Do not do what the client does not ask you to do. So for instance, if the client asks you to answer the question, should this banana plantation be closed due to decreasing demand, don't do any research about, let's say, how apples are selling in that region. You want to make sure that you only focus on the problem, that you are creative and look at it from many different perspectives, but you want to make sure that you don't do anything that is unnecessary, that just simply has no impact, no relevancy to the question. So here's now how to structure your fact sheet. And as we already said, we have 3 parts, and those are documentation, analysis, and interpretation/solution. So the question, for instance, right here could be, our products are not selling anymore. How can we again sell more products? So the documentation, for instance, would include what kind of products does your client sell? So what exactly are they selling? Very, very basic. That you say, all right, they are selling, let's say, candles. They are selling candles, and then what are their features? How about their design? So for instance, we can say, well, these are thin candles and they are of red color. And then we say, all right, connected services. Is there any connected services? No, not really. There is no support service. I mean, who needs a support service for candles? And then the 7P of marketing, which are product, price, promotion, people. This should actually say something else. It says right here, product, price, product, promotion. Should, of course, be product, price, plan, promotion, people, processes, and physical evidence. So what you basically want to do right now is you want to figure out, okay, what is the product? What is the price? What is the promotion like? What are the people who are working on it? What are the processes like inside the company? And then also physical evidence, which I believe is perhaps the least necessary factor, is basically, for instance, when there is a guide that is connected with a candle, for instance, like a piece of paper, something like that, that gives some information about it. This is then so-called physical evidence. Now, for instance, what you also want to analyze is what are their sales strategies, or not really analyze, but rather document in this step. What are their sales strategies and where do they conduct marketing? So which platform do they use? Who is included in the marketing? And actually, we're going to focus on a couple of McKinsey strategies here in this course that are actually extremely effective in order to analyze teams and in order to structure them properly. Then afterwards, you want to focus on the analysis part. So we want to focus on internal and external factors. The internal factors that we want to analyze are, for instance, things like, how does each part work? How efficiently do all parts work together? So for instance, the production, the team, the marketing team, the product development team, the visionary team, like all of these things, how all of these people are working together, and also if there's any problem between them. Because for instance, when there's some problems in the actual, let's say, production. Let's say there are production problems, and what you want to figure out is, first of all, how much do these production problems cost you every single day? How can you, first of all, the analysis, what exactly are these production problems? How much money do they cost every single day? Is that a long-term problem? And so on and so on. So the internal factors are, again, most of the time based on an efficiency/effectiveness analysis. Efficiency basically means that you work with just a limited amount of goods. So for instance, you have $10 and you want to use it as efficiently as possible. And then also there's effectiveness, and this is basically how much you can generate from, let's say, a certain amount. For instance, how much money can you make off $1, the absolute maximum. So effectiveness is rather scaling big. Efficiency is rather using it efficiently. So then external factors, market trends, customer research slash analysis. So that leads also to product improvements. For instance, when you do customer research or an analysis, what you're really doing is you're asking the customer, all right, what is good about the product? What is bad about the product? What can we improve about the product? And as soon as you have, let's say, relevant, meaningful results, what you want to do afterwards is you want to do some product improvements. But we're going to talk about all of that in this course, so really don't worry about it. What the big question here is in the analysis is, what are the problems? Where are the problems? How do they cost money? How much money do they cost? And so on and so on. So it's really all about the problems, figuring out what are the problems. Then afterwards, we have the interpretation/solution part. And now we want to ask the question, how can the situation be improved? How can each aspect be improved? So for instance, all of these problems, how can we solve them? How can we make every part more efficient or more effective? It really depends how much money the client has. If the client is really about saving money, of course, you want to make sure that everything works efficiently. If he or she is about growth, then go with effectiveness. You want to make sure that you get the biggest results possible. So interpretation/solution is very important. In some cases, you don't even need it. That's why I put the circle next to it in this kind of gray color, because documentation analysis is always necessary. You always need to document, you always need to analyze. But interpretation/solution is not always necessary, because basically it is much more work. For instance, when people tell you, all right, what are the problems about our marketing? If this is the question, then you do, all right, do an analysis. You say, all right, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. And then most of the time they're already happy. But some companies who really don't know what they're doing, perhaps, they will then ask you, all right, but what are your solutions? How can we solve this problem? And then what you're doing is you're doing something extra. And for that, of course, in most cases, you get very, very well paid. So anyway, the first step is always documentation, then analysis, and then interpretation/solution. Don't worry if you didn't get everything right now. We're going to focus on all of that here in this course, and I'm going to show you step by step how to work on each of those 3 steps. So for now, I can just say again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see each other in the next video.